Who's asking the questions?
Who's giving the answer?
Well, if one thinks back to 1879, when old Tom Morris made what must have been a remarkable journey from St Andrews to come down here.
How true. How true.
By train, by boat, by
horse,
cab, by horse, by Shanks's pony. We've no idea how long it took him. What we do know is that he stayed here for 4 days to lay out the original old course at Machrihanish. Now he normally would never have stayed for more than 1 day to lay out a golf course, because he paid his expenses. He paid £1 a day plus his expenses. But he stayed for 4 days at Machrihanish because he came in and said this was land the Almighty laid out to play golf on.
How true.
And of course he laid out a masterpiece on the old Machrihanish course. And when the new Machrihanish concept, the Machrihanish Dunes, the concept for that came along when Brian Keating first came up with a vision for that. It was a wonderful piece of land, Jim, you will agree, to work with. And what we're seeing now, a couple of years into Machrihanish Dunes being opened, is a realisation of that vision with David Southworth and his company taking on that vision that Brian Keating had and making it a reality. It's been a great combination of people to put all this together.
Yeah, with David Kidd at the heart of the course.
Yes, the man who knows the place.
Yes,
the place
as
so well.
a child
Came here.
Used to romp in the dunes here.
And the great thing about Machrihanish Dunes is that it links so perfectly with what old Tom Morris did, because this really is golf the way it began. This golf course is unique in terms of modern golf course construction, in as much as the designer wasn't allowed to do anything really because of the environmental constraints that were imposed on it at the time, and the golf course was virtually built by hand, as it was in old Tom's time.
Yes,
so
true.
there's a strong
there's a kinship there.
Yeah. And that really is the way golf began. What we have now, we've got blind shots, we've got some strange routes, and it's charming. It's wonderful. It's not something that you
unpredictable.
Would build. Unpredictable. It's not something you would build, but it's classic and it's real.
Yeah, and people golfers, golf commentators, who have, wandered the world in search of the truest of all links courses, which you and George Pepper did with your book. If they have not examined David Kidd's Machrihanish Dunes, if they have not, they're letting perhaps the most important link with the past that has ever been done. They're missing it. They're missing that link with the past. Now, if they do come here, as many will and are already, they will see almost at a glance golf holes the like of which on a serious golf course they have never seen. And this will be so stunningly clear by the second green. I swear it will. They'll say, I believe David Kidd and his colleagues when they say, we really didn't fashion anything here. We walked it, we examined it, we looked carefully, and we said, we're essentially going to leave it the way we found it. And golf observers have heard that line before. The only difference here is it's true. Abundantly true, overwhelmingly true. And as I say, they'll know that by the second green. They'll be saying, what do we ever? And I say the second green, I mean the green complex with the bunkering and the tumbling fairways and green approaches and greens that are from 1 to 18, stunningly original, because they are truly the ground as nature left it.
Yeah, it's pure. You have to remember that the fairways weren't constructed. There was no construction in the fairways. The only things that were constructed here were tees and greens. Even the bunkers weren't constructed. They were as they were found, more or less. The fairways were cut simply from the indigenous fescue grass that grows here, has done for thousands of years. And that's why this golf course is very, very important, I think, to the future of the game, because the game of golf is really a crossroads. It's on a downward curve. There are not as many people playing as there were. The game has become far too expensive. It doesn't encourage people to come. And it's become too expensive because golf courses, the way they are constructed, designed and maintained, are too expensive. The only model that works and will work for the future of the game is the links model. And that's the original form of the game. We're going to have to learn from the past to go into the future. And this is why this is very, very important. This is the model for what has to happen if the game of golf is going to survive as an affordable game for the masses. There are 34,000 or thereabouts golf courses in play around the world. Of that number, only 246 of them are links, are authentic links golf courses that owe their heritage to the original form of the game as it developed on the east coast of Scotland 600 years ago. This is the first links golf course, authentic links golf course, to be built on the west coast of Scotland for a century. And there have been very few links courses built in the last 40 or 50 years. Yeah. But more of these are going to have to be built.
Yeah. Because they are a course like the Dunes, to be specific. The Dunes, the Machrihanish Dunes, is not going to cost an arm and a leg to maintain and make available. And that's a huge step of progress. I am sure that I'll be careful of this, that 20 years ago, that was not being considered.
No.
That's come really in the last 10 years where people have begun to think there may be a way to see the emergence of new courses that are going to be modest in terms of any maintenance that may be required, and modest in the fashioning of them, because the world isn't going to be able to afford 2 million, 5 million, 12 million, 40 million to build a golf course. It's not going to be.
That's exactly right.
And that's why, again, why Machrihanish Dunes is such a remarkable model. Anybody in the golf world game almost should be required as part of his education or her education. Ladies are golf architects, should be required to come here and see how they do it, what they have and how they do it.